What it do, y'all? So this is the man, Lip Dog, who pretty much had set up Buntry to get murdered. Now, Lip Dog, who was an OG from my Piru, is from the same neighborhood, which is really the ultimate double cross. He had no beef with Buntry, but for him to give up the information, to give up the drop to his enemy, to Buntry's enemies, George Williams and Lil Rod, and so that they can come slide through and take out Buntry is crazy. This is really the ultimate double cross. And it's sad, but it makes sense why Mob James does not like this dude. Anytime y'all hear Mob James speak on Lip Dog or get asked about Lip Dog, he does not like this dude because he feels, just like a lot of other dudes, felt like Lip Dog was the one who was responsible for the death of Buntry. He gave the drop allegedly to George and then got caught at a gas station, y'all. Lip Dog also being one of the few very Pirus who was actually still alive and actually got on camera for the first time ever when they did that documentary last year about Suge Knight. And he pretty much showed up on camera and they told him to speak on Suge Knight and how he was introduced to death row. And of course, the murders of Tupac and Biggie and so forth.
Before you worked at death row,
I was in prison for attempted murder.
And so Suge offered you a job?
Right. Right for me.
How did that happen?
Well, when I came home, one of my associates took me to where Suge was at. Suge was about to go out of town. And before he got aboard the plane, me and him, hooked up. Because I know Suge prior from then. I know Suge ever since the early 70s. Because we grew up 5 houses from each other. So, he knew me. Suge couldn't even play with us. His mother wouldn't let him play with us. Because we were the thugs in the neighborhood. And she had a goal for Suge. And that was for him to play sports.
One thing, they wouldn't bullshit and they would whoop your ass with no questions asked. If you stepped on the red rug, if you answered a phone, if you parked in somebody's spot, you gonna get your ass whooped.
Some people died. Some people just got beat up. Few people got rat packed or would attack you. Yeah, it's trained. Because the dog thinking you trying to get next to him, next to Suge. And if you're trying to get next to Suge, that dog is going to attack you. Yeah.
And is it true he had, piranha fish?
Yeah, he had a black tank built into the wall in his office. And it was dark. It was black piranhas. We used to feed them bloodworms. He used to buy a big pack of bloodworms and put them in there. And they just go crazy. Yeah. He look at that tank and look at you. And then, people, it was calm.
Now, Lip Dog, who's an OG from my Piru, was one of the few Pirus that was around at death row from the beginning, who's still alive. When he came home from prison, he was courted on to be a part of death row security. So at this time, he was all cool until later on when pretty much he had double-crossed Buntry and gave the drop to his enemies, George Williams, who was the enemies, to Buntry and all that fighting with death row, all the in-house Piru on Piru. I don't know why Lip Dog would double-cross his close friend Buntry, which they from the same neighborhood. Is crazy. But Mob James did explain the whole situation, breaking it down, saying how Lip Dog was playing both sides. He might get some money from Suge, or he might then go to George Williams and Lil Rod, who was the main money man, the big PCP drug dealer who was in competition with Suge Knight and had George as his hitman, his associate. So this dude, Lip Dog, was actually getting paid, to be on their side and to get information. So he was really playing both sides. I don't know how he survived if he was to be playing both sides. But Mob James don't really like this dude at all. And he explains the whole get down, him and Reggie, how this dude Mob James was playing both sides. Y'all know the tape allegedly that they said Buntry was playing at his house, which was a tape of the execution of another Fruitan Piru. And Lip Dog was the one who gave that information up to George Williams, and also had gave the location of Buntry when he was leaving his house to the gas station allegedly, which is crazy.
That had nothing to do with Vincent Buchanan definitely was something that Death Row got blamed for that had nothing to do with anything. It was just what happened was Vincent was kidnapped by guys that were dressed up like police officers, handcuffed, and dropped off in front of a put him in the cemetery. In the cemetery in front of in Compton. Why? How? I understand why my name got brought up in there because of the police aspect and the handcuffs and all of that. Why Buntry name got brought up into it? Why Suge name got brought up in it?
Different story. Let me stop you right there. There was one particular cat at our house while we were playing chess and drinking our coffee. Lip Dog. He's sitting here. The comment came up that they had a picture of V being killed, and that Buntry, so-called himself, supposed to have it. So that in particular, that person went and took it upon himself to go tell those cats they got a picture. Buntry got a video of
VHS tape.
Yeah, of Vincent being killed.
Torture.
So when that happened, there's only one motherfucker that was in there, Lip Dog. So this cat, now the police is raiding, the FBI and everybody raiding the house, looking for, they took computers, they took everything that was associated with
VHS tape.
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, it's safe to say all of these guys is tied into it, and not even the guys that we got here. There's bam, 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 and bam.
Yeah. And let me tell you from the law enforcement aspect of how all of this ties in. David Brim is the guy that was suspected of being the Brim was suspected of
Brim Dave.
Brim Dave was suspected of being the shooter, or one of the guys that tortured and kidnapped Vincent Buchanan. Who house he hanging at now? Going to visit? Buntry's. Police. And who's running Death Row at the time? Because Suge's in prison when this happened. Reggie. And then handcuffs and all of that.
So you were getting blamed for some of this stuff?
I said the three. Suge, because Buntry and myself worked for Suge. And who got the money to do it? Or for what reason, I don't know. Why they think Suge has something to do with it. Because he didn't. Other than what James has explained about the VHS tape was supposedly Buntry was supposedly been watching or had possession of that they heard, and so that was pissed off Little Rod and George and them, and that's why I said earlier that they made an example or they shot Brim in front of Buntry House, sending them a message. Never saw it or heard about it.
It was brought up and said because we was having a conversation in there about everybody getting killed and about the guys that was killed before him. And me and Buntry wasn't seeing eye to eye because, you know, I'm your brother. If somebody do something to you, I got you. You know what I'm saying? So let's be on the same page. These guys is talking this and that on you. So the conversation came up. I said, watch, Buntry. And I mentioned that. Lip Dog sitting on the couch in the living room. We sitting at the table in the kitchen playing chess. And the next thing you know, here come Top Cat and somebody else come to the house talking about this.
Lil Rod.
And Lil Rod talking about it.
So let me know. Now, of course, Mob James believes, you know, that Lip Dog was the dude that set up Buntry to get killed. So Mob James really has no love for Lip Dog. Any chance he gets, he goes in on Lip Dog. Mob James was very upset that his brother had passed away, you know, and he speaks on his brother's death, how it affected him. So y'all can understand how he would feel about Lip Dog, a OG Piru that grew up in the sandbox with Buntry, with Mob James. How somebody like Lip Dog, coming from the same neighborhood as all these guys, would set up somebody else from his neighborhood who is an OG, who's much more respected than he was, and give the drop on him to other Pirus. It really doesn't make sense.
Or can you speak on Lip Dog?
What?
Lip Dog?
Yeah, I can speak on Lip Dog. What?
Lip Dog?
Yeah, I can speak on Lip Dog. Fuck Lip Dog. Lip
Had to fill up their car with gas.
Suge Knight, struggling to maintain control, created a rivalry between his own blood gang members who started killing each other.
A lot of them died for him, including my brother. Some guys got out of van and AK'd him down. I think he got shot 9 times, 10 times, and he was laying there. I've seen the scene so many times. I've seen what happened to him so many times. You know, I can say I can't even imagine that somebody would do him like that, but that's how we was living. That's the shit we was doing when we was doing drive-bys. That's the shit that I lived for. That I had to go out and live like that. So seeing my brother, it was so different. It's like I had to step outside of myself and to see him laying there with his eyes open and just, I had so much anger in me. It's rough talking about him. Every time they mention his name, I get choked up. The pain is cold feeling. It's my brother.
But I guess in a way his death gave you something. His death gave you something too.
It taught me a lot. It gave me a better understanding of my self-destruction, what I was doing to other people. I'm with somebody right now that they feeling the same way about their brother. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, I can't do nothing but apologize for the way I lived. And I'm trying to make it better. I'm trying to help people. And me and Tom hung out so much that, man, this guy right here. So when I put Lil Dave on the shirt, Lil Davey was killed in front of my house. 1609, he's killing. And he was coming to pretty much let my brother know that these guys got a hit on him. And somebody went back and told them that Lil Dave was our like family to us, which they didn't know. Nobody knew Dave knew our family and was that close. So these guys sat and waited till he walked out the house with him and his girlfriend. And when he went to put his key in the car, they pulled up, got out, and sprayed him with an AK. I think Lil Davey was shot 23 times.
He was lit up.
Yeah, his girlfriend was shot. I think, did she lose her arm?
Yeah, she lost her arm. It was done. My grandmother's house was right next door. Caused them to move out to Hemet after that happened. Matter of fact, they ended up selling their house to James' sister, because they had to get out of there because there was so many shots that was fired at that location. They thought it was a war going on, but
well, they actually had 2 AKs,
yeah,
and they shot him up with 2 AKs. So imagine looking at his body right there by the door. You know what I'm saying?
So that's 2 in a van. Doors open. If y'all know anything about a guy that loves with the MO of having a van and shooting up people with an AK, then you'll know who's responsible for that. We all know who it is. And it was in result of sending Buntry a message. Is what it really was about from a law enforcement point of view.
Yeah, where they actually let it in.
Yeah, but they followed him over there to shoot him.
No, Lip Dog, well, I mean, I ain't gonna disagree with you and go back and forth.
Yeah.
But we had a guy in the neighborhood that was basically scared, and he was going back and forth.
Alright, y'all, so let me know what y'all think, man, about the whole double cross of the murder of Buntry by Lip Dog, another OG Mob Piru. So y'all can see why and how it went down. Y'all can see the anger that Mob James has for Lip Dog. And y'all also heard Mob James say, you know, initially this whole thing started because of a whole tape. So they sent Buntry a message by killing Brim Dave. They killed him in front of Buntry's house. They were sending a message to Buntry. And then pretty much they actually spoke to Buntry and talked to him before they actually murdered him. He actually denied, saying he had anything to do with the tape that they accused him of the torture of an OG from Fruitown Piru named V. So pretty much, even though he denied it, they still targeted him. But if it wasn't for Lip Dog, I don't think they would even have the drop to get Buntry. So thanks to Lip Dog, you double-crossed your own homeboy, Buntry. And pretty much that's how this whole situation had went down. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section, man. Once again, thanks for tuning in, y'all. Make sure y'all don't forget to hit the like button, y'all. Peace.